Hello and welcome to another episode of Atomic Vinyl Reviews. My name's Jacob and today we've got another unboxing video. So yeah, let's take a look at what's in this little parcel right here. So I got my trusty little scalpel knife and we will just part this tape right here and see what's in here. Very light package, I'm not entirely sure what's in here, but I have an idea as always. What am I doing? This side. There we go. Just put that. Okay. So what we've got in here, yep, it's just what I thought. Lots of plastic. More plastic. But here's what we're actually after. So, we're unboxing yet another Godzilla 1984 bootleg Bandai vinyl figure. So this is a copy of the Memorial Box figure of the 1984 Bandai vinyl. Now the reason I'm unboxing a second one of these is because my first one, if you saw that video, is effed up. Look at this tail. This is not how the tail is meant to be. This is just him standing flat and the tail is, you know, positioned where it technically should be. But I don't know. I tried bending it with like heating water and getting it to go up a bit and it just was squishing and it looked awful and I just gave up. And I contacted the seller and they were very good. They contacted me the next day and they said that they would send me a new one. And here it is, and the tail is all better on this guy right here. So camera, thank you for going in focus. You can get a nice, really good look at this figure, how it was meant to be made. Now there we go. Much better tail. This guy looks like he can stand properly. Still looks like his hips have been squished in a little bit here. It looks a little bit odd, but that is really easy to fix again with some hot water. If we look at both of them together, so this is the new one with the fixed tail and this one here is the old one. So he's actually got a slightly better stance there. His legs are parted a bit better, and that's because might have just been sent to me like that, or when I was trying to heat him up to fix the tail, that might have fixed itself then. Because the thing about vinyl figures, because these are actually hard vinyl, but hard vinyl, soft vinyl, reacts pretty much the same way when you heat it. It kind of goes back to its natural form, the one it sort of crystallized itself into when it was cast. And so that's how you can fix issues like this sometimes, or when the body's squished together a little bit. But unfortunately this tail was just, I don't know what happened to it. You can tell by the slight detailing in the scales that they are from the same sculpt, I believe. Yeah, they do look pretty identical in terms of the sculpt, but this one's just like elongated and warped. It's really weird. So I don't know why this guy's got this bizarre tail, but we can pop it out, and since this guy's body I think is slightly better made, we can swap the tails. Because with these figures, they're pretty easy to take apart, and they just got, you know, plastic thing that barely got a lip around it, so it doesn't even hold in all that hard, so it's pretty easy to... There we go. Now my figure is back to its former glory, and we have two of these guys, so I could still probably, if I really wanted to, do something with this tail, like seriously bend it. Maybe if I do it like, bend it like this sideways, we could kind of get it to work with this guy. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'll mess around with that later. But for those of you guys who didn't see my first video on these figures, the reason I got these, despite these being bootleg figures, is because the original 1984 Bandai vinyl, I think they only made like it only came in a Memorial Box, which is like a collection of a whole bunch of Bandai vinyls, and it hasn't been re-released since then, so it's really rare and naturally really expensive. And the 1984 design really doesn't have that many great figures of it at the moment, at least not in this scale and especially not in this price range. So to get this guy, you know, the Bandai vinyl is just beautifully detailed. And these copies here actually capture that detail pretty well. So come on, like I was showing you guys before, look at that. The detailing is actually really decent on this guy. It's cast really nicely, aside from the fucked up tail, but got a free replacement, so that's pretty rad, actually. Got two figures for the price of one, just because it was fucked up, which is fine as long as I got one, and the other one can just, you know, be its own retarded thing. Oh, I just chucked it into my dinner plate, and that's all oily. Okay, whatever. But yeah, the reason I got these is the sculpt is really great on this thing, but the paintwork's a bit garbage, as you can see by the paintwork. So what I'm gonna be doing is repainting this figure and making like a proper fancy 1984 little figure, basically, because I like the design of the 1984. It's a really difficult design to capture. I do have the X Plus of it, which I will actually just quickly bring in. I think I brought it in that original video, but you know, you guys might want to see it again next to this guy. So here it is, the big 30 centimeter Series X Plus figure of the 1984 design next to the bootleg Bandai vinyl figure, and they're pretty similar. They're both pretty good versions of this design. I think the X Plus is slightly imperfect in some ways, and obviously the Bandai is a little bit imperfect, just being a bit stylized for Bandai vinyl. But all things considered, this Bandai vinyl does capture the design really, really well. And I actually have the Yuji Sakai modeling collection X Plus 30 centimeter 1984 Godzilla on pre-order right now, so when that comes in, I'll be able to compare all of these guys, because that figure looked so beautiful. I think it's gonna just totally outdo this original 30 centimeter one, which like already is a really good figure, but something about the face of the 1984 design is really difficult to capture. He has this slight campiness to his design, this slight goofiness in the way he's designed, but at the same time it's got this awesomeness to it, and it's really, really hard to balance those. Like, it's hard to explain. It's something about the eyebrows and the roundness of his face and just the facial features, and even throughout the movie he looked different because they used different techniques to create him, from you know, the classic man in a suit to like a big animatronic puppet of the head. They used like a massive one they made for that film, and a whole bunch of different things like that, so he does look different in different parts of the film. But my favorite is the suit version, and I think this Bandai vinyl captures that really beautifully. The spines are really well done. Like I brought up in the initial unboxing of the first one, the spines are so much better on this thing than on the NECA figure. Now they are reissuing that NECA figure with like a fancy box, which I really just want to get it for the box, but they also tweaked the spines to be a little better. But Jesus, that figure was such a mess. Like, I don't have it on hand right now because it's not one of the figures I really display. It's more just one of the figures I own because I got it with another figure and I just kept it because it's so grotesque that I just take it out every once in a while just to show you guys what a fucked up figure it is. So I should have had it on hand for this. But maybe if I do a full review once I repaint this, I'll dig it up. But yeah, they even fucked up the claws on that NECA figure, where some of them were longer than others, and it was just like there was no cute quality control on it. Like, and it's the improved version, because the original of that NECA figure was looked so hideous that the fan base like called out their mistake and said the head is horrible, and so they fixed it. The head still looks like garbage on the newer one, but it looks a little bit better than what they were doing originally. They made the hands on that one too small and really I don't know, they look more like Shin Godzilla's hands on some like longer weird arms, and it was kind of weird. And yeah, that figure was a dud basically. I'm not a fan of that one. They did reuse it quite effectively to make that like the NES Godzilla, the Godzilla Monster of Monsters Nintendo 8-bit style game figure, which I actually really adore. But they completely swapped out the spines on that thing and repainted it. And since that Godzilla's like mostly based off the 84, but just loosely, it kind of worked. But as an 84 figure, that one was garbage. And to the moment, for the moment, that was the only accessible 1984 figure in this sort of scale that we had. So that's why I opted to get this one. Like, I know it's a bootleg, and I know people have issues with bootlegs. I have made a video about why I don't particularly buy into the whole feeling guilty about buying bootlegs or anything like that. I haven't uploaded. Well, I have uploaded it, but it's like a unlisted video because the frame rate on that was garbage. So I really need to refilm it in flawless 20... actually, I think I got this recording at like 30 frames per second. So glorious 30 frames per second for you good people out there. So I will do that in the future because it is a pretty interesting topic that I really like to get into. But yeah, I'm going off a little bit off topic. So just in terms of this figure, the sculpt I think is beautiful. The paint is atrocious. Like, look, they didn't even paint... They painted the eyes in, like, really broadly with gold. And they kind of painted in the teeth not very cleanly, so it's not in focus, guys. There we go. You got a nice clear look at his beautiful little face there. Well, again, I really love this face sculpt because it does capture this design really well. What I'm actually thinking about doing when I mod this guy is maybe cutting out his mouth entirely and resculpting in new teeth and like a new inner mouth, because he does have that blocky classic Bandai kind of teeth, and I'm really thinking about using this thing just as, like I said, a plastic model kit basically. I'm thinking about fixing up all the seam lines, fixing those like with putty so they're not there, and it'll just be a little model of this Godzilla, and hopefully by the end of it he'll look really nice, because like I said, the detailing on this thing is really beautiful, I think. I'll actually show you guys a Gamera figure, which was also a bootleg vinyl kit that was made out of a giant Gamera, what would you call it? Just a big Bandai vinyl. But then the people in Thailand converted that Bandai vinyl into a, plastic model kit version, but it still retained those blocky teeth. And what I did was exactly what I'm gonna do to this guy, probably. And luckily I have two heads to mess with now, in case I mess it up. So that's gonna be good. But I'll just bring that in if I can find them. It should just be out of frame here, guys. So hold on a second again. Here we go, guys. So this big chunky boy here is my Gamera 90s Bandai vinyl kit copy, basically, like I was saying. So originally, this thing would have been just a huge Bandai vinyl figure, something like this. And then, like I said, the people in Thailand converted this into a plastic model kit that they could copy and sell. And the teeth originally for this guy, so I'll just give you guys a nice close-up look, originally were done in that same style, where behind the teeth it was solid plastic. So what I did was I cut out all of that plastic in there and sculpted in a new inner mouth, and even his tusks were actually fused to the side of his head, and this whole inner area right here just had a solid chunk of plastic, which looked really sort of dumb, but it did mean that the figures that they made were a lot easier to make. So what I did was I cut these tusks out, and I kind of bended them outward a little bit, and I sculpted in more of that fleshy part in there. So that is all stuff that I sculpted in right there. And now he looks like a glorious figure. I'm really happy with how this figure came out. So yeah, it's just another thing that you could get with bootlegs if you're so inclined. You can even see still originally has all the Bandai markings, so these are not authentic. This guy is a copy and a fake and a plastic model kit that I built and painted. So, yeah, that's basically what I'm gonna do with this guy. So, thanks guys so much for checking out this video here. I'll keep you guys updated on this project. I don't know when I will get to it. It may be a long time, because I still have to paint my King Ghidorah figures. Jeez, getting dusty now because I've been working on other projects. But this is that 1964 Monster Arts bootleg King Ghidorah that was all like a beige color. So I'm painting him gold. So I'm still in the process of that, and I have a couple of other little projects, so I don't know when I will get to it. But it is something that I would definitely love to see if you guys pursue a project like this, or do let me know in the comments below. Have you gotten bootleg figures and made them better? I've been also considering doing the same thing with some of those bootleg Bandai Vinyl Shin Godzilla figures, because it's really hard to get a really good looking Shin Godzilla figure. And the Bandai Vinyls, they kind of, because they're made using the CGI data from the film, they're kind of the right shape. They're pretty close, but since they Bandai Vinylize them, which means they like simplify them, especially those teeth and the paintwork, it's a little bit flat looking. So I have been wanting to actually mod one of those ones to look really authentic. But I really don't want to mess with a genuine Bandai vinyl, so bootlegs are the way to go when you're doing customizing and stuff like that. Because to me, bootlegs really aren't like a figure that you get to just display as is. They're really a customizing project, and that's what I like about them. So yeah, that is it for this video, guys. Don't forget to like and or subscribe, because it is always very awesome when you guys do that. And that's it for this video. May all your vinyl be irradiated vinyl. Over and out.